What's the longest you've rolled at one class? For some of us, that may be 2 rounds after technique is done before we head on home to get caught up on our favorite Netflix show. And on the other side of the spectrum, there are those of us that try to hit every single round. But what's harder than rolling with a different person every 6 minutes for 45 minutes straight? Well, getting out of bed without checking your phone first. Anyways, we're gonna be taking a look at a different way of training than you may be used to seeing. So let me be a good Asian and break down the math for you guys. Me plus 2 other purple belts around my age. All of us like to push the pace, so much so that after a single 6-minute round, both of us are absolutely exhausted and absolutely hate each other's guts. Now what happens when you take that 6 minutes and you crank up that dial all the way to 45 minutes? Now the rules are simple. Pick a position, 1 person on top, 1 person on the bottom, set the timer for 3 minutes,
and go ham.
3 minutes go off, top person goes to bottom, new person comes in on top, rinse and repeat. That way, between the 3 of us, 1 person will be in the middle for 6 minutes straight and then out for 3 minutes before getting back in. And since the timer will be set for 3 minutes, that means we will be pushing a ridiculous pace. Blah, 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 blah. Let's watch this display of elevated testosterone levels, baby. As soon as we slap hands, the round is underway. Here, Armin is grabbing my gi in my armpits, burying his head and keeping his elbows tight to my body. This makes it really hard for me to establish any dominant grips. Here I slide my hand over his collar to grab a cross grip. With my other hand, I grab his collar on the other side, looking for an X choke. I readjust my guard going high to try to finish the X choke, but my grips aren't tight enough. So I throw my leg over his head, looking for an armbar, but he pulls his elbow out just enough to defend it, so I go back into guard. With a hip and pants grip, he tries to pass to my left, so I turn to my right side, and with my right arm, I hook his left ankle extra deep. This micro adjustment makes for a much more powerful De La Riva guard. Since he has a strong grip on my pants and I have a strong grip on his ankle, we're both stuck in this position for a little bit. After a little bit of jockeying for a better angle of attack, he decides to grab my top leg to look for a straight ankle attack. To counter this, I grab his free hand to keep him from locking it up. I then kick my leg free and hip out to my left side, going for a 2-on-1 on his left arm. I use this grip to clear his arm and come up on a single leg. He grabs my belt to look for an Uchimata counter. As I get up to my feet, we almost bump into the punching bag, so we decide to reset in the middle. Right off the get-go, he opens his guard and puts me off balance. As I square up into him, he frames on my neck and uses that to stand up. I immediately collar drag to single leg, but he turns into me and kicks back to defend it. So I jump in between his legs, sitting into butterfly guard. He switches sides and tries to knee cut through my guard, but can't free his knee, so bails on it. As I go for a 2-on-1 grip on his right arm, he rolls on that shoulder looking to jump over my guard and take my back. So I kick out and get up for the sweep. But with a De La Riva hook, he grabs my belt, pops up on my back, and comes up on a single leg, immediately jumping over my guard looking for a guard pass, locking up a Kimura attack. As I go belly down, pulling his arm, he postures up, giving me enough space to retain guard. I go straight into quarter guard with an underhook, pop up on a single leg, and drive forward, hooking his head to get the sweep. Here I break his collar grip, turn away, and run back to the safety of my home square. As he sits up looking for a single leg attack, I grab a Kimura and throw myself over his guard. He has my right leg caught in between his quarter guard, so as I try to kick it out and free myself, he hooks it with his left shin looking to take my back. So I grab his top ankle and pull it into me, keeping him from taking my back. I then turn my hips into him and pull his ankle across into my 50-50 guard. From here I pummel my left shin in between his hips to chop out his base, and with a firm grip on his right pants, I stand up to get the sweep. He immediately sits up and grabs my belt behind my legs, pulling himself underneath me for deep half guard. So I kick back, putting myself in his quarter guard. I then hook his hip with my left shin, sticking my butt in the air, looking to free my right leg right as the timer goes off. After a solid 30 seconds of fighting for grips from the guard, I decide to open my guard, using my shins to pull his calves apart so I can chop down his base and transition into open guard. From here I grab a cross collar and sleeve grip, post on his hip with my right leg, and turn to my right, looking to set up an angle of attack. As he grabs my left pant leg and circles to that side looking for a guard pass, I breed my right leg over his bicep to lock up lasso guard. Here I'm trying to keep my elbow glued to my hip to keep him from pulling his arm out. As he lowers his levels looking for a smash pass, I bail on the lasso guard, opting to pummel my top leg over his left arm and post on his right shoulder to keep him from passing my guard. After a little bit of a fight, I attempt an arm drag single leg combo, but he's able to drive his weight into me, preventing me from popping up to my feet and finishing. It turns into a little bit of a scramble, and I end up having a very loose quarter guard. He even has a little bit of an underhook. From here, I stay on my side, keeping a hold of his ankle to keep him from passing all the way. Eventually, I'm able to post on my elbow, giving me enough space to get my feet out and stand up. Here I use my telepathic skills to take him down. I then get double pants grips, something we've been working on in class. I use them to sidestep his guard, but here he's doing a good job of framing on my arm. So I let go of his legs and grab his right shoulder, driving my way into him. I'm bringing my right arm over his top elbow to redirect his force and shut down his frame. From here I grab a crossface. This combined with my pants grip on his right leg makes for a very solid side control. I then feed his lapel to my right hand, getting up to knee on belly. After a little bit of work, I lock up the baseball bat choke and throw my right leg over his head to block it and get the tap. From turtle, I let Armin get his grips and we are off to the races. Here he slides his knee in front of my hip looking to chop out my base. I counter by grabbing his ankle and pulling it towards my head. I then grab his pants and pull him to the mat to come up on top. As I slide across his bottom leg looking for an over-under pass, he frames on my collar and is able to slide his bottom leg out to pull me into his close guard. I immediately go for my double grips in his armpits, straight arm, and use that to get up to my feet. I then posture up hard and use my right hand to push down on his left knee to open his guard. From here, I slide across his bottom leg looking to pass to his left, but he uses his tree trunk legs to put me off to the other side and slide into De La Riva guard. Here I grab both of his pant legs, shove his feet to the mat, and try to circle to his left for a guard pass. He turns into me hard, so I underhook his bottom leg and look for a hug pass, but he's able to frame on my hip and slide his top leg across to retain guard. He has a strong cross collar grip on me, so I posture up and break his grip. I immediately grab his left pant leg and shuck it by, driving my weight into him and lowering my levels. As he tries to stiff arm escape, I redirect his arm. He turns into me hard, so I grab his bottom knee, shelving it on my hip to keep him from turning into me anymore. I've really had to work for this guard pass, so I'm being patient and not giving him any spaces to try to re-guard. I then grab his right knee and step over into mounts right as the timer goes off. With a grip on his lapel and elbow, I bring my knee up against his hip to block it. I then pull him to the mat, putting myself in side control. This is the type of move I like to go for against somebody that has good back defense and a solid base. With a crossface, I feed his lapel to my right hand, looking to attack a baseball bat choke. He's doing a good job of framing, however, so instead of pursuing the choke, I decide to slide it over into mount, and as he tries to pull my leg into his half guard, I dig my toes under his bottom leg to shut him down. Since I already have a solid crossface with my right arm, I post on his elbow trying to slide it over, shoving my head to the mat and look to lock up a arm triangle. However, my crossface is more across his jaw than on his throat, so I don't have a really solid grip on the choke. Instead, I grab my left sleeve and look for an Ezekiel choke right as the timer goes off.
Hello there.
Here I use my shin to block his hip. I then post on my arms and sit in with my bottom knee to retain guard. With a tight cross collar grip, I pummel my left arm in front of his right bicep. I then grab his elbow and, keeping his posture broken down with my cross collar, kick my top leg across, grabbing my shin and locking up an omoplata. Here he uses his shin as a wedge between me and him to keep me from closing the space and sweeping or submitting him. As he tries to turn into me, I kick my right leg over his shoulder looking for a triangle choke, but he sits back, so I grab his pants and pummel my left leg in between his legs, grab his collar, and use that to stand up to my feet. He immediately counters by reaping my knee, looking for a straight ankle lock. As I turn with him, sit to my butt and free my right knee, he decides to bail on the footlock and pop up on a single leg, so I get myself out of there.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
I know the round's about over, so I sit into guard looking to make something happen right as the buzzer goes off. Alright guys, this next segment is extremely serious. Something you have to know is that I kidnapped Tony Stark, and I forced him to make a secret weapon, and here it is.
Hello there.
The psychic beacon Mark 6'9". Using this right here, I'm gonna be able to get inside your head. I know what you've been thinking about. I should report you right now. Now I think the way that this works is you press this button right here, squeeze me, so we're gonna press that and see what happens. Dude, so you're obviously Native American, right? Well, Stephen Hurst, wrong. You get the answer wrong. I come at you. Stephen, my man, you were this close to getting it right. But in the words of the famous scientist Albert Einstein, to make a Jedi, you need 50% Asian, 50% white. So don't mix it up next time. All right, Tony Stark, not bad. Let's see what happens when we push it again. I know IBJJF legalized heel hooks, but do any of the gyms that you go to practice them in the gi? Well, Nergy Gilron, good question. So most gyms that I've been at, trained at, they tend to avoid heel hooks across the board. Now I train at Drysdale's HQ out in Vegas, and we go for heel hooks, but only in no-gi. So to answer your question, no, I haven't been to any schools that practice heel hooks in the gi. However, I don't see a problem with it as long as the two people rolling have experience with heel hooks, they know how dangerous they are, and nobody's trying to hurt each other. But as we all know, that's a little easier said than done. Oftentimes your ego may get the better of you and end up getting you a little more hurt than you should be. Alright guys, that's all for your questions this week. If you have something you want to ask me, comment down below. Who knows, maybe I'll pull this guy out in the next episode and answer some of your questions. Anyways, since you're still watching, I'd say you probably enjoyed the video, so be sure to hit that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. If you're new to my channel, welcome, I'm Jedi. I like to do Jiu-Jitsu and make cool videos about it, which I do every single Friday. If that sounds of interest to you, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. If you would like to keep up with me day to day, head on over to my Instagram, Jedi_himself, link down below. What's that you say? Important announcement? That's right, the channel finally has our first sponsor, xmartial.com. They make jiu-jitsu gear, shorts, rash guards, whatever you're looking for, they probably make it. Personally, I like this rash guard right here. This one is pretty cool as well, and I've actually given these guys a test run. They're made of high quality material, they fit well, and they're actually super affordable as well. If you're looking for some new gear, head on over to xmartial.com. I have an affiliate link down in the description that will get you 10% off at checkout when you use the code Jedi. So head on over there, knock yourself out, and you'll obviously be helping the channel out as well. Thank you all for hanging out with me on another Friday. I will talk to you next week. Remember, stay consistent, and you can do anything you want to do. Okay, bye.